Airmail service launched May 15, 1918. Airplanes were new in 1918, but the government saw their potential for fast, long-distance communication. The Post Office Department, with cooperation from the U.S. Army Signal Corps, launched the first government-operated airmail route. Washington, D.C. To Philadelphia to New York City, the first airmail pilots flew out on May 15, 1918. Lieutenant George L. Boyle flew the first official flight from Washington, D.C., but got lost and crash-landed in Maryland. Max Miller later became a prominent airmail pilot, eventually died in a crash. Early airmail was flown using Curtiss JN-4 Jenny biplanes, open cockpit, no navigation tools, and unreliable engines. Pilots used landmarks, railroads, rivers, and even bonfires lit by farmers at night to navigate. Letters that took days by train could be delivered in less than 24 hours by air. Airmail was seen as futuristic, elite, and patriotic, used for urgent business, legal documents, and newspapers. The post office quickly became the largest patron of early aviation, subsidizing the aircraft industry before commercial airlines took off. Airmail fees were higher than regular mail, generating increased revenue. More importantly, airmail's economic ripple effects, growth in commerce, faster decision-making, business expansion, gave the government and economy long-term financial gains. It shrank geographic distances, equalized economic opportunity, and helped create the infrastructure for modern logistics, expanded international commerce, and global communication. During World War II and post-war years, mail volume exploded, with over 30 billion pieces handled annually by the 1950s. Most sorting was still manual, requiring thousands of clerks to physically read addresses, hand-sort letters by city and route, as well as bundle them for carriers. In the 1940s, the post office began experimenting with mechanical letter sorting. Early machines could read typed addresses with basic optical recognition, sort mail into bins by region or route. This drastically reduced human error, fatigue, and costs. Engineers working with the Postal Department's Office of Research and Engineering and private firms like Pitney Bowes and Bell Labs developed sorting technologies. Notable early machines: Transforma, from the Netherlands, used in NYC Post Office. Multiline optical character recognition, OCR, devices, later in the 1960s. By the 1960s, the U.S. population had soared past 180 million, and suburbs were sprawling. Cities had multiple post offices and carriers. Without standardization, mail routing was increasingly slow and chaotic. The ZIP, also known as the Zone Improvement Plan, first introduced July 1, 1963 by Robert Moon, a career postal inspector and logistics expert. Standardized the first 3 digits of what would eventually become a 5-digit code to identify geographic regions, resulting in fasted routed mail with more efficiently and accuracy. The Zone Improvement Plan allowed for machine sorting and automation. Before 1970, the Postal Service was a cabinet-level department of the federal government, created by law. Its employees were federal civil servants, and it operated like a traditional bureaucracy, under direct political control. Congress set postage rates, labor rules, hiring and pay scales, route expansions, and closings. The highly politicized position of Postmaster General was often a political appointee, and local postmaster jobs were distributed via patronage or spoils system. The continual expansion of the system left the post office underfunded and constantly required subsidy from Congress. In March 1970, over 200,000 postal workers went on strike, beginning in New York City and spreading nationwide. They demanded better pay, improved conditions, and recognition of collective bargaining rights. The strike left the mail system stagnant in major cities. President Nixon attempted to bandage the crisis, calling in the National Guard to sort and deliver mail. The untrained help was ill-equipped to service the nation's need. There was the first national federal employee strike, and it exposed the urgent need to reform the postal system structurally. On August 12, 1970, President Nixon signed into official title what he called an Act to Improve and Modernize the Postal Service. The Postal Reorganization Act of 1970 converted the Post Office Department into the United States Postal Service, USPS. The newly dubbed USPS became an independent establishment of the executive branch, not a cabinet department. The department became self-supporting through postal and service revenue and was no longer supported by congressional appropriation. The Board of Governors was established, operating the department like a corporate board, with its members presidentially appointed. The Board of Governors were in charge of setting policy, postal rates, and budgets. Postal workers were granted unionization, creating the National Association of Letter Carriers and the APWU, American Postal Workers Union. The act also created the Postal Regulatory Commission, an independent body with oversight and review and recommendation of postage rate changes. And in 1978, the Civil Service Reform Act was signed into law by President Jimmy Carter, dissolved the Civil Service Commission and replaced it with three new entities: Office of Personnel Management, OPM, which handles federal human resources, HR recruitment, hiring, training, benefits, the Merit Systems Protection Board, MSPB, that handles appeals, reviews, and protection of employee rights, and the Federal Labor Relations Authority, FLRA, which oversees labor management relations in federal service. The Postal Service would continue to modernize in the 1980s through the early 1990s. During this period of technological modernization, competitive pressure, and structural evolution, the United States Postal Service, USPS, built upon the changes from the 1970s Postal Reorganization Act and continued to evolve into a commercially driven, service-oriented national institution, balancing its universal service mandate with increasing challenges from private competitors, rising volumes of mail, and growing demand for automation. Zip plus 4 added 4 extra digits to the original 5-digit zip code, pinpointing city block, building, or specific delivery route. This innovation significantly enhanced delivery speed, address verification, and logistics efficiency. Express Mail, 1977, rebranded in the 1980s. USPS's fastest service, offering overnight delivery. Competed directly with FedEx and UPS. Guaranteed delivery and tracking, an innovation borrowed from private competitors. Priority Mail, a mid-tier service that offered 2 to 3 day delivery at a flat rate. Became popular for small businesses and individuals seeking affordable speed. Postmaster generals such as William F. Bolger, Paul Carlin, Albert V. Casey pushed for greater operational efficiency while navigating fiscal and labor-related challenges. Anthony Frank, who served as Postmaster General from 1988 to 1992, promoted corporate-style management, modernized service branding, with slogans like, "We deliver for you and neither snow nor rain." The Postal Service under Anthony Frank emphasized its role as a national institution and was featured in pop culture, TV shows, embedding itself in American community identity. Into the 21st century, the American postal system has remained an irrefutable staple of the American way of life, whether it be the couriering of personal letters, packaged goods, private equities, or its fundamental use. Arisen formed the de jure state's necessity to create a connected republic of the United States of America, informed of its politics and civic attitudes, and to establish an arm to the people by which they could exercise their civil responsibilities and participate in the fundamental structures of American society.